Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Max AC channel. To celebrate the spooky season for the fourth time, for this month of October, we will be doing Spooktober once again, where we'll be making 4 more recipes that will surely be as frightening as they are delicious. For this episode, we finished this year's spooky celebration with some Cheesy Spider Muffins. For this recipe, you will need 2.5 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley, 3 ounces of cheddar, 3 ounces of mozzarella, 2 eggs, half a cup or 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of milk, and 1 cup or so of olives for the spider decoration. And of course, you will need a muffin pan and some liners. This should be good enough for about 12 muffins, so just as needed. First, we'll preheat the oven, so set the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, while we wait for that, we'll prepare the batter. So since we want the butter to be softened when we need to use it, cut the butter into small pieces and set this aside for later. Then, we'll mix together the dry ingredients. So in a mixing bowl, add in the flour, baking powder, salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and dried parsley, and mix this until everything is well combined. Next, in another bowl, we'll mix together the wet ingredients. So add the butter, eggs, and milk, and beat this all together until bubbles and foam start to form. Then slowly mix in the flour mixture a little bit at a time until it forms into a smooth, thick batter. Then shred your cheddar cheese and fold it into the batter. Next, line your muffin pan with your liners. Then add about 1 heaping tablespoon's worth of the batter into the bottom of each cup. Next, slice your mozzarella into small cubes, and then place them on top of the batter, pushing them down slightly to secure it into the center. Then cover the top of each with the remaining batter. Give your tray a tap on the counter a few times to smooth out the batter, and then top these with some dried parsley. Then slice your olives in half lengthwise, and then cut one side into leg slices. Next, arrange your olive pieces on top, with an olive half into the center, and 2 sets of 4 legs on each side. Next, your oven should be done preheating by now, so when you're ready, place your muffin tray into the oven and let them bake for 12 to 16 minutes until they are fully set and risen, and if a toothpick comes out, clean of crumbs. Once your muffins are fully cooked, remove them from the oven and let them cool for 10 minutes or so, and with that, your cheesy spider muffins are ready to eat. For our last Spooktober recipe for this go around, I wanted to make another savory Halloween recipe. I saw that there were a bunch of fun, spooky bread recipes, including one where they used olives to look like spiders on top. And I was considering making this recipe, but I wanted to lean into the spider theme more and use some cheese to act as a spider webs when you pull the bread apart. And since I had some leftover cheese from previous recipes, I thought that this recipe would be a perfect way to use them. Plus, the smaller muffin size makes this the perfect bread to serve at your upcoming Halloween party. One thing I like about this recipe is that it works as a spooky recipe, but the base recipe is actually one that you can make any time of the year and works as a great bread recipe to serve with some soup or other meal. I think I filled my liners with too much batter, which caused the spider legs to spread out a lot more than I thought they were going to. But if I placed the legs a bit closer, I think it would have worked better. Also, if you were to place the olive spiders halfway through the baking process instead, I think that might have helped them not spread out as much as well. Of course, these are best consumed freshly baked, but for any leftovers, you can store them in an airtight container in the fridge for about a week or so. Or if you wish to store it for longer, you can wrap them in some parchment paper and foil, and then store them in an airtight container in the freezer for a couple of months. Then you can defrost them in the fridge and warm them back up either in the microwave or oven or air fryer until they're warmed through, and they should pull apart super stringy like they're freshly baked. But regardless of if you enjoy them fresh or reheat them up later, this cheesy bread recipe will be a great way to finish off the spooky season with something savory for your Halloween party, or even just for a delicious meal. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know how it went, if you decided to make it, and let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything you want me to make next. Like this video, share with your friends and family, and subscribe to or follow this channel for more episodes of the Max AC channel. And remember, if you want to stay cool in the kitchen, turn your AC to the max and watch the Max AC channel. Ow, hot.